think you're also seeing this now as you talk about more of like the current state of relationships, that you're now getting called misogynist for actually pointing out just
all the
what
time.
is.
Yeah, all the time I get gaslit and I get called a misogynist. Anytime I say something that disagrees with the opinion of the majority of women, which is basically anything I say, because if you're unplugged from the matrix, people are just going to simply think you're a misogynist when I'm just
Mhm.
stating facts and they don't want to hear facts. You can make a valid point and have it backed up by research, and they'll just say that's bullshit. And they'll gaslight you until you just have to agree with them. And for the most part, most people will back down. Like, for example, I got canceled on TikTok. Why? Because I told people the truth. And this is what happens.
Yeah.
And then I remember when that video got taken down, there was this other guy who reacted to your reaction, and then he called you a colonizer. And it had nothing to do with what you were talking about. Do you remember that?
A colonizer?
Yes.
And
It was, hey, colonizer.
Stop making fun of me. Yeah, and they nonstop making fun of me, my voice, my appearance, that I'm on steroids. And it's perfectly okay to make fun of me. That's what I don't understand. People make fun of what
Mhm.
I'm doing, and they do the same thing that they think I'm doing. They'll say, "You made fun of that person," and they'll put me down by making fun of me. And I'm like, well, let's say I did make fun of them. So does two wrongs justify this? Because you're doing the same thing to me, only worse. So how is that okay?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It is one of the things where I just felt like people were rational. I was trying to be rational. I've never called a woman a bitch, a hoe, a slut ever on my show, not one time. I have 10 girls on here. I'm super fucking nice to them. Most of my friends are female. I run every bikini competition here in Las Vegas. And I know a bunch of beautiful women, and they don't have any complaints about me, but I still get this like, oh, I can't believe that you said that. That is so misogynistic. It is not misogynistic to point out that if you have more sexual partners as a woman, you're more likely to cheat. That is not misogynistic. That is 2 + 2 = 4. And I said more likely. Right. I didn't say you're definitely going to cheat. I said you're statistically more likely looking at historical data, but somehow that's incredibly offensive. And it's like one of these things where there's a moral ambiguity. It's like you shouldn't even be telling people this, even though it is true, because you're sending out the wrong message. So yeah, man, that has been something that I've had to deal with recently. And I've seen, you recently make this pivot into male self-improvement and probably some of the hate that you've got as well.
Yeah.
Coach, even like saying, oh, sorry. It's even like saying when people say, did you cheat or not cheat? And I'm like, do you know how many people would cheat right now if given the opportunity to do so? Like 50% of marriages end in divorce. And I'm saying another 50% would end in divorce if they were given the opportunity to do so. So many people are sticking together just because they have no other options. I'm telling you, if you're in a relationship and you're your wife and some model walks up to you and you have the opportunity to have sex with that girl, how many married men are actually going to be faithful in that moment? It's easy to say, I would never cheat on my wife when you're a 2 out of 10 and no one ever even talks to you. But when you're extremely good looking or you have an SMV of a 9 or a 10, you're like extremely attractive, the chances that you're going to cheat are way higher. The girls are all cheating with the top, say, 5% of men. These guys are having sex with everybody. But the people who are below average looking are saying, I would never cheat. Well, yeah, you wouldn't because you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, the other part was whenever you bring up dating app surveys where they talk about 90% or 80% of men being deemed below average attractiveness, 20% of men being attractive, and 4.5% of men being so attractive that women will actually pursue them. When you say that and then you try to express to women in an unfamiliar environment, you say that a man is an 8 and you call him a 5. And I've seen this so many times before where it's like in an unfamiliar environment, they push men to the right or push men to the left, making them more attractive. But when you get them into a familiar environment, which is why I asked you the question before about social media and maybe even like the concept of social circle being an effective way from if you're a man who normally she wouldn't pay attention to because you're a 2 out of 10, like you said before. But if you can get to know her, that you can get her into the environment where you guys are going to events together or going to clubs together or going to dinners together and you guys are going to play cards together or whatever, you can actually generate more attraction that way.
Well, I've argued that men can date up to 5 points. Like if you're a 5 out of 10, maybe you could get a 10. But if you're a 1, you're not getting a 10. And what does that mean? It's well, if you're extremely funny, if you have a lot of money, if you have all these other qualities that are deemed as attractive, you're a leader, you're charismatic, you can get girls who are more attractive, but only to a certain degree. And so you do want to actually meet people. And who are people cheating with? Who are people dating? They're mostly dating people that they know. So it's people at work or people that they're going to meet. People aren't cheating with the person in a different country. It's like, you really think I'm cheating on you with like some girl from South Africa that DM me? No, it's people that are in your immediate vicinity. Oftentimes it's your friends. It's like You have no idea how many people are cheating with their best friends, girlfriends, and all these things. People are doing this all the time. People are having sex with people who they're hanging around with the most.
If you're watching this, I have a gift for you. Hit the link below and I will send you a private invite to my community for free.